In the heart of Africa, among rolling hills and shimmering lakes, lies Burundi, a nation whose story is woven into the land itself. Its history lives in the rhythm of the drum and the memories of its people, not in stone monuments. Before borders, this land was a tapestry of clans and communities, united by shared legends. One enduring tale tells of Kambarantama, a humble farmer from the Rusizi Plains. Arriving in the highlands, Kambarantama brought wisdom, new farming methods, and a vision for unity. The people chose him as their leader, and he became the first Mwami, or king, of Burundi. This founding myth celebrates leadership earned through wisdom and the ability to unite, not conquest. The Mwami was more than a ruler. He was the guardian of the land and the people's well-being. Over generations, the kingdom grew as clans joined under the Mwami's authority, often through peaceful incorporation. The king's power was balanced by councils and advisors, creating a kingdom built on relationships and shared rituals. These traditions bound the people together, forming the foundation of Burundian identity. The legend of Kambarantama remains a powerful reminder of Burundi's deep roots. From these beginnings, a nation emerged, one defined by unity, tradition, and respect for the land. For centuries, Burundi's life followed the rhythm of the seasons, structured like a pyramid with the Mwami at its peak. Below him, the Ganwa princes served as regional chiefs, while the Hutu, Tutsi, and TWA formed the base, roles that overlapped more than divided. The Hutu cultivated the land, the Tutsi herded cattle, and the TWA were potters and hunters. Each hill was a close-knit community, with families living in circular rugos, sharing work and life. Cattle symbolized wealth and social bonds, central to contracts and marriages. The Mwami's rule relied on a system of patronage and tribute. Farmers and herders offered goods in exchange for protection and land. This web of interdependence, called Ubugabiri, ensured stability and order. Spirituality infused daily life. The people revered Imana, the creator god, and saw the Mwami as his earthly representative. Sacred drums, the Karienda, echoed the heartbeat of the nation and the king's authority. Rituals honored Imana and reinforced the Mwami's spiritual power. The kingdom thrived on shared customs, mutual respect, and a deep connection to the land. Harmony was not just an ideal, it was the foundation of Burundian society. The hills, the drums, and the rituals united the people in a common identity. This balance of power, tradition, and spirituality defined Burundi for generations. It was a kingdom in tune with its land and its people. For centuries, Burundi's hills shielded it from the outside world. That changed in the 19th century, first with Arab traders, then with European explorers like Burton and Speke. The scramble for Africa brought Burundi under German control after the Berlin Conference of 1885. The Burundian Mwami resisted fiercely, but German firepower eventually prevailed. The Germans ruled indirectly, keeping the Mwami in place but introducing new technologies, religions, and a rigid worldview. After World War I, Belgium took over, intensifying indirect rule and misunderstanding Burundian society. The Belgians' simplistic approach disrupted the delicate balance that had existed for centuries. Colonial rule set the stage for future conflict by imposing new divisions and power structures. The ancient kingdom was forever changed by these foreign footprints. Belgian rule hardened social distinctions, turning flexible identities into rigid racialized categories. The Tutsi minority was favored, while the Hutu majority was marginalized, fueling deep resentment. Identity cards formalized these divisions, undermining traditional bonds. As independence movements swept Africa, Burundian leaders like Prince Louis Rwagasore emerged, calling for unity beyond ethnicity. Rwagasore's Uprona party won a landslide in 1961, promising a new, inclusive Burundi. But hope was shattered when Rwagasore was assassinated just weeks later, leaving a nation in mourning. Despite this loss, Burundi gained independence in 1962 as a constitutional monarchy. The dream of unity was overshadowed by the wounds of colonialism and the loss of its visionary leader. The seeds of division, sown by colonial policies, would soon bear bitter fruit. Burundi stepped into independence with both hope and uncertainty. Independence brought joy, but Rwagasore's death left a void quickly filled by ethnic tension and political intrigue. The coalition he built fractured, and politicians exploited ethnic loyalties. A failed Hutu-led coup in 1965 triggered brutal reprisals by the Tutsi-dominated army, deepening mistrust. The monarchy was overthrown, replaced by a Tutsi-led republic under Michael Micombero. The state became an instrument of minority rule, excluding and oppressing the Hutu majority. Resistance grew underground, and the seeds of future violence were sown. Burundi's unity was shattered, setting the stage for tragedy. In 1972, Burundi descended into horror as a Hutu uprising was met with a genocidal response from the Tutsi-led regime. Hundreds of thousands were killed or exiled, and Hutu leadership was decimated. The trauma of the Yakiza haunted both communities, cementing Tutsi military dominance. For years, Burundi was ruled by military dictators, with the Hutu majority living in fear and exclusion. In the late 1980s, democratic reforms offered hope, culminating in the 1993 election of Melchior Ndadaye, the first Hutu president. His assassination after just 3 months reignited violence, plunging Burundi into civil war. Massacres and reprisals followed, as rebel groups and the army fought for control. The war displaced millions and claimed hundreds of thousands of lives. The cycle of violence seemed unbreakable, with hope repeatedly dashed. Burundi's wounds deepened, and the dream of unity faded. The nation was trapped in a long, dark shadow of conflict, yet the desire for peace endured. After years of war, exhausted Burundians and regional leaders sought peace through negotiations in Arusha, Tanzania. The 2000 Arusha Peace and Reconciliation Agreement established power sharing and quotas to ensure both Hutu and Tutsi representation in government and the military. The goal: end ethnic monopoly and prevent future domination by any group. Implementation was slow and difficult, with deep mistrust and some rebels refusing to join at first. A transitional government and UN peacekeepers helped stabilize the country. Gradually, rebel groups laid down arms and joined the political process. In 2005, Pierre Nkurunziza, a former rebel leader, was elected president, marking the official end of the civil war. The Arusha Accords, though imperfect, stopped the violence and offered a fragile foundation for reconciliation. Burundi began the long process of rebuilding its identity and institutions. The hope for lasting peace was finally within reach. The years after 2005 brought stability and hope, as Burundi rebuilt from war. President Nkurunziza's leadership saw economic recovery and a measure of peace. But in 2015, his bid for a third term sparked crisis. Opposition called it unconstitutional, protests erupted, and a failed coup followed. The government cracked down, closing media and forcing opponents into exile. International sanctions and isolation deepened Burundi's challenges. The spirit of reconciliation faded, and fears of renewed violence grew. In 2020, Nkurunziza announced he would step down, but died suddenly before the new president, Evariste Ndayishimiye, took office. Ndayishimiye inherited a nation divided, facing economic hardship and political uncertainty. He promised reform and dialogue, offering a glimmer of hope for a more inclusive future. Burundi stood at another crossroads, its path uncertain, but not without promise. Today, Burundi stands at a pivotal moment, striving to overcome its troubled past and build a better future. President Ndayishimiye's government has reopened dialogue and improved international relations. The streets are calm, but poverty, unemployment, and political divisions remain daunting challenges. The ethnic power-sharing model has prevented new conflict, but true reconciliation is still a work in progress. Burundi's story is a lesson in the dangers of division and the resilience of the human spirit. The Arusha Accords show that dialogue and compromise can end even the deepest conflicts. The future depends on strengthening democracy, fostering unity, and creating opportunity for all. In the hills of Burundi, hope endures, in the rhythm of the drums and the determination of its people.